Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
This is my boomstick.
Here's Johnny.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Righteous! Righteous! Yeah!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Houston, we have a problem.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Will Spalding, and as always, I'm joined by sjdierberger. And Sam, we have a special guest today. Friend of the show. He's been on before. He's back again. Jude Adams. Jude, how are you?
I'm
I don't
doing
care
well.
how Sam is, so I skipped right over him.
I know. I'm doing very well. I'm so happy to be back on the Those Film Nerds podcast. It's been too long.
Yeah, we're excited. We're excited to have you back. And Sam, you know what? I guess I can ask. How are you? I suppose.
I mean, I'm fine, but
He's always fine.
no adjective this week. So
You're not as important this week, Sam. You're not as necessary. So
I'm never as necessary. But we're very excited to have Jude back. We all three of us go back, a decent amount of ways.
We go back.
Jude is really the only person that we know who has an actual future in the industry.
yes,
Yes.
We're just really fans. So
Yes. We have big things happening over here. Lots of projects in development.
Yeah, Jude, just kind of tell the listener what you're doing for school right now.
Yeah. So I'm currently studying film in Chicago. And so I'd made a couple shorts in high school, but now really amping up the game. Just finished shooting on a short this week that I produced with my friend, and that should be coming out in late November. It's called Fifth Year. So look out for that.
And is that for a class, or was that just for fun?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
You take these film classes, they're like, oh, make a 5-minute short. Well, you can always go above and beyond that, and that's what we did here.
Gotcha. So the 5 minutes is for the class. The extra, you said it off air. You said it was what, 15 minutes? You're thinking
it should be about 15. It's gonna be it's a short. So,
gotcha.
But I'm very excited. My friend Hayden Welch wrote and directed. Very talented up and coming filmmaker. So look out for that. It's gonna be good.
Good, man. Hey, we're excited. We're excited to see all of things Jude Adams in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And when in just a few short years, when you're making the next big movie, we'll be well, of course, Those Film Nerds podcast will still be around because
there's always new movies coming out.
Right. But by then, Sam and I will be retired. The interns will take over.
Oh, the interns, of course. Yeah.
And it'll suck. They're not good.
Unfortunately.
But no. Speaking of the movie of the week, what do we got going on this week, Sam?
This week we're talking about the long-awaited, long-anticipated Dune.
My planet Arrakis is so beautiful when the sun is low. Rolling over the sands, you can see spice in the air. The outsiders ravage our lands in front of our eyes.
Yeah, we have Dune this week. We won't get into that right now. We'll talk a little bit of some industry news segments and then get into Dune. I only have I guess we talked just slightly off air about this, but I think there's only just a couple things, so we can just knock them out quick. There's one big one which I'll skip for a bit. But did either of you see that Ryan Gosling, Ken, in the new Barbie movie by Greta Gerwig?
Really? Wow, interesting choice. Who's Barbie?
Margot Robbie.
Oh wow. Is Greta writing and directing?
She is, yes.
Okay, so I have hope.
I'm in for anything Greta. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, Greta Gerwig.
Sam, your
Barbie.
thoughts?
Dude, isn't Ryan Gosling like 40 years old?
I'll look up his age.
I think he just turned 40 like last year.
Wow.
He is 40. You're right.
Which is crazy.
He's turning 41 soon.
Wow. Old man. Almost as old as Michael Mann's Thief, which turns 41 this year.
I knew it.
Yep. And Margot is 30.
Completely unrelated. Yeah.
31. Yeah. So I guess that'll be happening. These seem like such obvious casting choices. So, I guess good. Let's just get that pumping because we want to see that. Give us more Greta Gerwig content, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen she didn't write or direct it. Have you seen No Baumbach's Mistress America? Maybe my favorite Gerwig content. She's very good in that film. Would recommend.
What is it?
Mistress America from 2015.
Well, I'll give that a look. See, but anyway, not as important as what we're about to discuss. The tragic passing of one Helena Hutchins, the cinematographer on Alec Baldwin's starring movie and producing role Rust. I don't know when, probably 2 years now, I suppose.
Or never.
Yeah, this might just be canned. We'll see. Yeah, she, the cinematographer, unfortunately, was killed due to an accidental discharge of a prop firearm. And then the director, Joel Souza, was injured as well, but appears he's going to live or will live. Yeah, guys, what Jude, you really wanted to discuss this. You call it the industry news. What do you think?
I just think it's such a tragedy.
Absolutely.
And like, I feel so bad for like everyone, like the woman's family and like everyone on set, and especially Alec Baldwin. Like, it's not a good situation at all.
No, and this will certainly change how things are done on sets. I know there's already laws. I'm not sure. I'm almost positive you can't have actual live fire. It can only be blanks. Like, you can't even bring live fire on set. So I'm not sure why it was even there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also not sure why whoever the prop director is, prop master, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what he or she was doing. Although it looks like there will be no criminal charges filed. I've kind of seen, but yeah,
such a mess.
Very sad. Yeah.
Horrible, messy situation.
Well, it's kind of multifaceted because, for one thing, now we're reading reports that the armorer, whose name is still yet to be disclosed, I think, the armorer whose job it is to take care of the prop firearms on set.
Right.
Apparently, he had previous allegations against him of just misuse on set. Apparently, there have been some actors that have come forward and said, like, yeah, I didn't want to work with him because I've heard bad stories or whatever.
Wow.
And some of that might just be people trying to jump in on a tragic headline, which is sad enough on its own. The other interesting thing about this is that, you can read a few articles now about how if the family wanted, they could sue Alec Baldwin, not as the person who pulled the trigger, but the person who was an executive producer. So they would be suing Baldwin and the other executive producers on the film, who may or may not be liable for the accident. But yeah, you mentioned, Will, that this could change how things are done on set, and it's like, I don't even know if that's true, because this seems so out of the ordinary. I don't even know. It seems so out of step with protocol as is. You don't read about this a lot. The last time this happened that's been documented is with The Crow, with
Brandon Lee,
Bruce Lee's kid.
Yeah, Bruce Lee's son. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, freak accident.
Yeah, really, really sad. It was weird. weird seeing that in the news that night. That it had happened. Very sad. Thoughts go out to Helena Hutchins's son and husband. So yeah, very sad.
Yes.
But guys,
On that note,
I have a piece of industry news.
oh, Jude, please.
And Sam, you may
okay.
already be aware of this. Jack Nicholson spotted at a Lakers game last week. The return of the king. Did you see the photos, Sam?
He's keeping the weight steady.
Ain't nothing wrong with
You know?
that. Man's living his life.
He's like
He's living the life.
82, so he's fine.
The king. The king.
The
I think
return
okay,
of
I was
the-
talking to my friends about this. I think there needs to be an NBA All-Star game just with like the diehard celebrities who like love the team. So you get
Just
like Adam Sandler,
Spike Lee.
like Spike Lee, yeah. You just get all of them and you just have them, can you imagine?
Nicholson's power forward.
Yeah, exactly. I Al Pacino, from Jack and Jill.
Who is
Um,
Pacino a fan of?
in the film in the 2011 masterpiece Jack and Jill.
Yeah, of course.
He's a fan. He goes to a Lakers game and he disguises himself.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you're too familiar. I just rewatched. I just indulged in a
I
little Jack and Jill
saw that. That's a good movie to be in love with, Jude, as a bit. That's a good one.
Oh yes, of course.
For me,
I
it's-
share it with everyone.
For me, it's Now You See Me. I think Now You See Me is
Guilty
so funny in
pleasure.
that regard. Yeah. Yeah. Nicholson just being Nicholson. Nicholson get a Nicholson. So
The king.
Absolute king.
The king.
that's right.
I want to see more from his kid, Ray Nicholson. More. I think he's a pretty talented actor in his own right. And also looks like his father quite strikingly. But
Underrated Nicholson picture, 1973's Last Detail. So good.
oh
Would
yes,
recommend.
yes,
Would recommend.
yes. Broke some barriers.
It did. Hal
I
Ashby.
mean-
I love Hal Ashby. Such a fine director. He's so good. Such a sadness that he died so young.
Underrated. Yeah, okay. So with that, should we move into Dune?
Yeah, sure. We
Yes.
sure can.
Or Duncan, can I trust you with something? Yes, always. You know that. I've been having dreams about a girl on Arrakis. I don't know what it means. Dreams make good stories. Everything important happens when we're awake.
Yeah, Dune 2021. We're not just we're not throwing it all the way back to 84 because I'd want to spoon my eyes out because
What? No, that's where we disagree.
yeah,
I wanna-
you know what, Sam,
David Lynch, Dune, incredible.
Sam, I know you haven't seen it, so but Jude, I give me your background with Dune. Have you read the book? Give me your thoughts on 84 real quick because I don't want to think about it for very long.
My relationship with Dune is that I think the book is very sleepy and like hard to read because it's all this like Dune jargon and it would take me too long. So I tried. I got about a third of the way through and then did not finish it. And so how I see the 84 Dune is obviously the new one is better, but David Lynch, he takes such a sleepy story and he makes it entertaining with some great performances. And yeah, it's a little messy. Did you know that David Lynch never even read the book? He never read the book.
That doesn't surprise me.
He met one of his friends at a coffee shop, and over like 5 hours, he had his friend explain the book to him, and he wrote down notes and then wrote the script based on his notes.
Well, we were just talking about Nicholson. Nicholson actually was going to direct Dune.
Really?
Yeah. And he decided that it was unfilmable. So he left the project for the better.
For the better. Imagine a Nicholson directed Dune. I have to get more into Nicholson's directorial features.
Yeah. All right. We're already done talking about 84 Dune because it sucks.
It's good.
Now let's talk.
No, wait. Can I just say the credits of Dune are so funny? The 84 Dune with the
Like,
Toto song.
the end
with the
credits?
Toto. Yeah,
Or
the end
beginning?
credits and like the pictures.
Oh,
Have you
there's-
seen it recently?
I watched it last week, but I did not make it to the credits. As soon as I turned it on.
The credits are, if you're gonna watch Dune 84, at least watch the credits because the credits are maybe some of the funniest like things you'll ever see. It's very good.
Well, there you go. Fast forward 2 hours and 13 minutes and get to the credits.
Yes.
That's Jude's recommendation for the week. So Sam, get on that.
All right. We'll do. All
right, let's get into 2021 Dune, which also sucks. All right, so I've given my opinion. All right, so
was that a bit or what? Like,
nope.
No,
No,
not a
that
bit.
was
Not a
he-
bit.
that was serious.
look at his Letterboxd review, Jude. I was
Let me pull up.
absolutely actually no. He saw it before I did, and I read the review,
Letterboxd.com.
and I'm like, oh god, it's gonna be bad.
Really?
Because you know, Will and I typically
Agree.
it's very rare that we give a movie the exact same rating, but
I'm usually a little bit higher than you.
Wow.
because I'm just evil and a snob, but
Holy cow.
I was like, oh my, I'm not gonna reveal his rating right now, but I'm like, really?
This
Really?
is surprising to me.
So I'm gonna here's how I'm gonna kind of structure this episode. I'm gonna say what I liked about it to start. Then I'm gonna let you guys go to town on what you liked about it. And every single time you say something that you liked that I hated, I'm just gonna say I hated that part.
Oh, of course.
So I'm gonna let you guys go to town.
That's a good way to analyze a movie. Yeah.
So here's what I liked about Dune 2021.
Yes.
Which a movie I was very excited for, actually. I should put that out there. I was a little tired of all the Dune heads, Dune Nation, hyping this up to be.
I agree. I agree with that.
It was getting a little tiring of hearing that Dune 2021 was going to smash every box office record and it's going to be bigger than Star Wars, and I just thought that was asinine. But anyway, so
In
things
this
I
day and
liked-
age, no chance. Dune will not be $1 billion. We might not get $1 billion movie again for many years.
Yeah. So things I liked about Dune. Score was awesome. Loved the score.
Yes.
In fact, in the theater, in the first, like, when the Harkonnens attack, and we had that bagpipe score with all the lights going, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, that is so cool. So loved that. Loved the score.
Sure.
And I liked their helicopter things that they had on Arrakis. All right, that's all I have for good things. I'll turn it over to you guys.
What?
And the blue eyes were cool too. Some of the CGI was good.
Some of it.
Yeah.
Have you seen the 84 Dune?
Yeah.
Because it's like, what's the CGI? Okay. Okay, the one specific example I think about, like the little force field things.
Yep.
So much better in the new one.
I will agree.
So
with
much better
you.
in the other ones. They look like Roblox.
Well,
That's the worst part of the David Lynch one.
In the original, when they did that, I was like, "What is going? Like, what are these things?"
No,
like,
it's
"Are they
so funny.
shields?"
They don't
'Cause
explain anything in the Lynch one. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
That's what makes it great. In this one, it's like, oh, I know too much about what's going on, and it's a little boring.
I'll just also say though, the shields, stupid. Shields are stupid. What? I don't know. The shields are.
You're talking about the city shields or the body shields?
No, the body shields.
are stupid.
Oh, well.
What we have all these high tech blaster. We live in the year 10,000, high tech blaster stuff, and we use swords. Well, that's dumb. Like, okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop dogging on it. Jude, Sam, what did y'all like about Dune 2021? And Sam and Jude as well. I if you have complaints, outline those as well. Just kind of
I do
general
have
thoughts
complaints,
to start.
but I do think it's very good. I think it's a good movie. And I should probably see it again in a theater because I did not see it in theaters.
You see HBO Max?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the only reason is so that I could do a Dune double feature. And
What? Oh, gotcha.
yes,
Dune,
and
gotcha.
the same night, one of my other friends went and saw it at the Chicago International Film Festival at the Music Box. And back at home, we thought it would be funny if we also watched Dune in the comfort of our own dorm. So that was the context in which I watched both Dunes. And it was a long night because the new one is very long.
The one is very long. The old one is long too.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But it's like double story.
Yeah. The old
I
one
like
tells the
new one.
entire plot of the novel.
But I do think like Denis is very good at world building. And so that's mostly what I liked about this one, is that he's able to like actually take the time to like tell you what's going on.
Okay.
It's a setup movie, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And now that part 2 is happening, I'm sure it will be an excellent companion piece to Dune Part 2, which will most likely be a far better film.
Yeah.
That part I will agree. Knowing the story of Dune, at least from Lynch's perspective, story of Dune, I would imagine that the second part will be much better than this first part.
I agree, but it's set up but it's you have to get past that a little bit. And just enjoy the characters and
I did not enjoy
world.
the characters.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my God.
the worm, when the worm showed up, it was like, oh, it's over. It's like,
Didn't
wow,
care.
there it is. Although, will say, do prefer Lynch's worm. In 84 Dune, when he rides the worm, maybe like top 10 movie scenes.
Yeah, you know, they say in Denis Dune that the worm is 400 meters, and that worm was
Far bigger.
Yeah. Why?
Maybe it's Arrakis measurements.
400 meters
Every
is
other
400
thing in
meters.
Arrakis is like off. So who knows?
Well, that's what I did notice is they kept whenever they were talking about measurements, they kept switching between metric and customary systems.
It's because
like,
it's Arrakis.
They'd be
No
like,
one
"This is
knows.
about 20 feet," and then they were like, "That's like 30 kilometers that way," and I'm like, "What?" But
we haven't ditched the
I like
customary
Timmy.
system in year 10,000.
I like Timmy in the movie. I think Timmy's pretty good in this film. He's no Kyle MacLachlan, but he does well. Yeah. Oh, Oscar Isaac was very good, I thought.
Yeah,
as
he had the best
always.
performance. He had the best performance.
Yes, he has the best performance in this movie. He has the best performance in like every movie he's in.
Yeah.
Including especially Star Wars. Yeah. Oh, who else was in this movie? Stacked cast. Whoever played the Baron. I like that they made the Baron actually like scary.
Skarsgård.
Yeah, Skarsgård. Baron actually has like a scary presence. In comparison to like the Lynch one where he just floats around and like eats.
Lynch one is just weird, yeah.
I very much enjoyed the Baron in this. Are we talking about spoilers?
Let's wait like 2 minutes. Sam, give us your general thoughts.
Okay, yeah.
then
Sam,
we'll go right
yes.
into spoilers
Yes.
for you.
okay, look, I mean, going back to a previous discussion, I would say first of all, I think in terms of balancing world building with also pleasing a fan base, I think this movie did an excellent job. I think as someone who knew nothing about Dune going in, you can sit down in the theater, you can watch this movie, and you can appreciate it for what it is. It doesn't treat the audience like they're stupid, but at the same time, it doesn't throw in a bunch of jargon or have to glossarize all these terms for us. It does a nice job of balancing that. And I think that's really important for a franchise and a world as complex as Dune. Secondly, I think this movie is visually one of the best movies I've ever seen. I think it's so well done, so pretty to look at. Someone on Letterboxd said something like, I can't believe that Denis Villeneuve didn't travel to the year 10,000 and this far off galaxy and just make a documentary, because that's what it seems like.
I have to, real quick, Sam, I have to rebuttal, and I will say I thought this looked terrible. Or not terrible, but there were parts that looked bad to me, like actually bad.
Like what?
The first time we flew over the city in Dune, It looked very cutscene-y to me, like a video game cutscene. I didn't think it looked good. When they were going to save the thing that was mining the spice with that cable thing, and they're up in the helicopters, that was extremely cutscene-y to me. I was like, all right, here's the exposition of what is happening and what we're about to do. I just thought it looked bad. The big landscape shots looked bad to me. I almost like it, sitting in the theater. I go, have we just been saying this is going to be a visual masterpiece because it's not? Like, is Denny tricking us? Because I didn't think every shot looked good. Which,
to me, I think
I
think
say
it's well done.
I will say like the big like world like sweeping shots.
Those
like
look especially bad to me.
I think they're fine.
Really?
It for me like the best scenes in the movie are like the stuff like in the palace and like with the family.
Yeah.
And then the stuff with the Baron, like that's the best part.
Yeah.
And then when they go to like the worm's cool, but like, oh my gosh, worst scene in the movie, the dream where he's like fighting in the army, you know, like in the gold suit.
It
looks
terrible.
so bad. It looks like such garbo. It's so bad.
Yeah, that was poorly.
That was
done.
the worst
You're
part
right.
of the movie. For
You're
me.
right.
Sam, sorry for interrupting. Continue.
High points. Some good acting. Timothy, at first I wasn't sold on the performance, but as it went on, I think he kind of gets more and more absorbed into the role, and I think it works. I was opposed initially to casting Timothy, not because of his abilities, but because it just seemed like such an obvious pick. It's just like, oh, he's a 20-something-year-old. He's the biggest 20-something-year-old actor in the world right now. Let's cast him. But he does a good job with what he has. I would agree that Oscar Isaac gives the best performance of the film. I think Rebecca Ferguson does a pretty good job. And
I couldn't hear Rebecca Ferguson, so I wouldn't know. She was whispering the whole movie.
But not when she used the voice though. Then she was scary.
Then she was scary.
then
And
she
The
loud.
voice is. I kind of like the voice too. That's one. I forgot to mention that. The voice was
The voice is
kinda,
cool, man.
Kind of how that worked was cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
The voice
and
is
like,
cool.
As opposed, like in the Lynch one, they like don't explain it all. It's just like, oh, he's it's happening. And then in this one, there's like actual explanation, and and they use it in an interesting way. Thank you, Denis.
Yeah.
Any other some negatives, Sam, that you have? So I'm not.
I mean,
rattling by myself.
there's negatives. I mean, it's this movie is long, really, really long. I guess I was entertained enough, but not nearly enough to justify this runtime, especially when you're only telling half the story of the novel.
Yes.
Some of the plot points, as you pointed out, take up a lot of time. Like Will, as you said, the rescue scene with that kind of spice harvester, the spice tractor. That rescue scene, first of all, incredibly circumstantial. The first harvester they see, they're like, oh, there's going to be trouble. And that scene lasts a solid 15 to 20 minutes. And we were talking about a runtime of 2.5 hours. It's like, did we really need that? Was that really important? Was that crucial? Right. Just things like that drag on for too long. But in between kind of those scenes, we do get some really great scenes. I thought the scene with Oscar Isaac being held captive by the Baron is legitimately haunting and a really great piece of filmmaking. I thought
that's the best scene in the movie.
Hands down the best scene in the movie. So there are moments of individualized drama, but really what I was struck by more than anything, and I still don't know how I feel about this, is the fact that despite the grand sweeping scale that the movie's aesthetic kind of tries to push on us, the movie is still incredibly intimate. It's really a story about 4 or 5 characters. And yeah, like I said, I still don't know how I feel about that. But it's certainly something different and not what I was expecting.
Yeah, I appreciate that it is different than like every other blockbuster. It has the looks of a blockbuster, but it takes its time and it fleshes out its characters, and it still delivers on the blockbuster standards that the general audience demands. You know, like I would much rather get 10 Dunes than whatever trash Eternals Marvel is putting out next week. You know,
Right.
So I think my real appreciation for it comes from just that fact that we can have a big budget filmmaker who gets the money from the studio to like make a picture that is an adaptation of this weird sci-fi book from the 70s, and it's like pretty decent and people will go see it. Like, okay, let's have a little bit more of that, please.
Yeah, Will, can't you appreciate that this thing takes risks? I mean, you know, maybe the risks don't pay off, but it's certainly ambitious. It certainly doesn't try to be anything it's not, you know?
You know, that's fair. There are times where this takes risks, but I also thought this movie was just riddled with cliches as well.
Sure.
Just
sure.
typical.
I think that's just the book, though.
I don't
like. It's a book. It's a, you know, it's the hero's journey book.
Yeah.
It's literally like one. You know,
it's
like,
not even
it's
everything. I just think there's some things that you can cut going from a different medium. Like Sam, you mentioned the scene with Oscar Isaac being held by Stellan Skarsgård, being held by the Baron. And just before that, we get the reveal that his doctor is the one doing it, and because he's holding his wife hostage. And I thought, dude, he's gonna kill you and your wife. Why are you doing this? And then like 10 minutes later, we get that, and I'm like, well, duh.
But yeah, but then it leads to like the best scene in the movie. So whatever.
Sam, you say, can I appreciate that it takes risks? Yes. And I don't have to like those risks at all. I mean,
that's fair. That's fair. But I mean, it does follow a formula. You are right. The bare bones plot does follow a formula. We kind of have this like Luke Skywalker-esque chosen one thing going on with Paul, which is kind of to be expected. Really, that's just archetypal. It's you know, and there's certain biblical allusions. There's certain parts that are very kind of reenacting the story of Jesus, perhaps, with the betrayal and all that. And
but Jesus and Luke Skywalker didn't get to ride a giant worm in the desert. Now that's where Dune stands on its own and stands tall.
I mean, that's just but I mean, it's just new. It feels different. It just feels refreshing to get to watch this blockbuster, this franchise movie that's not connected to any other previous universe. We're not sitting through another Rogue One. We're not sitting through another Marvel film.
Yeah, it's not Marvel 5. It's Dune.
You know, we're not remaking. We're remaking a movie that was made 40 years ago.
I wouldn't even call it a remake because it's, you know, they're based on books. You know, it's just an adaptation of Dune.
I get it. I just not for me. I'm not for whatever reason. I'm not a huge Denis guy.
What's your ranking?
So I've seen seven of his movies. I like Arrival. I do not like Blade Runner. I do not like Dune. I don't particularly enjoy watching Prisoners. I do not like Sicario. Enemy is okay, and Incendies is probably his second best to me. So probably like Arrival, Incendies, Enemy.
Yeah.
None of his big, like Sicario, Blade Runner, Dune. No, don't like any of them. So maybe I just don't like him visually or aesthetically as a big blockbuster director. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's good. I'm not like a big Denis head, but I at least I appreciate what he's been doing for the industry.
He's certainly pushing boundaries.
I would agree there. I feel maybe, some of the other directors have maybe overstayed their welcome, and Chris Nolan. Maybe it's time to retire, Chris.
Jude, you mentioned getting into spoilers. We can do that right now if you have some things you want to talk about.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the scary Baron scene near the end of the film. To me, that was the best scene when he's floating. Very actually
In
a
oil?
little creepy. That was after. Because he has the poison tooth. Oscar Isaac does given to him from the doctor.
Oh, right. Yep.
And then he's like, the Baron was like, "I'm gonna kill you," and he was like, "Nope." And then he bit his tooth and blew all the stinky poison at him. Great scene. And then the reveal later when they come in and the carnage, and then the Baron's just on the ceiling wheezing. Holy cow, terrifying.
Yeah, legitimately haunting. Actually,
Yes.
him
And
decrepit up in the corner.
Yeah, and then afterwards when he's he's getting his little oil bath, it's holy cow. Visually, I think that was my favorite part of the movie, the oil bath. Just what's going on? And it's not CGI garbage,
Right.
Other scenes I liked. I really liked the scene, and maybe just because I actually read this scene in the book, because it's early on in the book and it's early on in the film, when my main man Paul goes to the library with the mom, and then he has to do the test where he puts his hand in the box, and he's got the Gom Jabbar on his neck. I quite like that scene. I think that's probably the second best scene in the movie, just because it really sets things up nicely. Although not as good as the Lynch one, where you can see Tom McLaughlin's hand melting in horrible early special effects.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were going to do any sort of visualization of the hand.
They didn't. They didn't.
Which was good.
It was very reserved, and I think that worked better because you still get it, and you see the mother, you see Rebecca Ferguson also feeling it. She's like, "Oh no, my boy, he's gonna fail," and you understand the stakes and the pain, and I think it's a very effective scene.
Yeah, his entire relationship with his mother is really something interesting.
That is a good progression too, actually.
Yeah, it could really be unpacked further. Probably, we definitely don't have time to do it justice, but there's something going on there that's really interesting. If you guys caught the line when Leto and Lady Jessica are laying in bed, Leto, Oscar Isaac says, "I should have married you," implying that they have a weird status as co-parents. Kid, and she has her own abilities. She's from her own tribe, so to speak. She's got this witchcraft in her veins or whatever. Kind of just a really interesting way to go about this sort of. It's an interesting twist on the sort of Prince story. We've seen a lot of, the Prince story is very old, very, very ancient. This Prince struggling with living up to the identity of being the king's son and also being his own man. So it's an interesting way to go about it. I really liked it.
Jude, let me ask you. This is more of a clarifying question for me. Did Josh Brolin's character die? What's going on there? I know he kind of charged into battle with
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, he's kind of
Gurney.
Yeah, did he die in that battle or no? I don't think we ever saw that.
It's kind of a spoiler, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, we're in spoilers.
No, but for the next movie.
Oh.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're supposed to be.
It's supposed to be ambiguous.
Okay.
If it was one movie, we would know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember Gurney? Do you remember Gurney in the Lynch one? He was played by Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, I was pleasantly surprised with Jason Momoa.
Me too. Honestly,
I thought Duncan Idaho is a really fun character.
Really funny character name. Thank you, Frank.
Yeah. Funny character name, but he's also he's a fun guy. I mean, he's a cool, big muscular warrior guy. So, and Momoa kind of did good. I was lightly
I thought he was
impressed
good.
with him.
Are you a
Yeah.
fan of Aquaman, like the
No,
film
no.
Aquaman?
Nah, it's
No,
fine.
okay, me neither. And so that's why I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, no, like he's not good in that movie at all. So I don't know. Maybe just a director that can
Maybe it's because he had
direct
no
his
beard.
performance. But yeah, was
His
pleasantly surprised with him.
scene where he's fighting all the guys one on one. That
Bummed
was like
I
that was a good
bummed-
scene. You
I
were
knew that was-
bummed.
I knew that was coming, but I was bummed that I was
I know,
like, man,
such a good scene. Such a
Yeah.
good scene. He's just
So-
he's in full menace mode. He's just going crazy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
let me ask you guys before we kind of get into the end, or we can transition to the end here. What did you think about the incorporation of Zendaya, her character, and her tribe? How did that work with the vision or the dreams, and then we get them at the end, obviously.
I thought that was maybe one of my least favorite parts too. Like it was so, oh, we have the dream and then we meet them, but then like we don't, like movie over, I wish there was more. I wish it was better incorporated. But I did think from what we got from Zendaya, pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. And I like the tribe stuff, and just like in the story, I like the tribe stuff more than the first half. So I'm excited to see where they take it with part 2. And good for Zendaya. She's been having a tough year with Malcolm and Marie and being in Spider-Man.
It's not a bad movie. Okay, whatever. No, Zendaya was definitely clickbait for this film, which
she's hardly in it.
She's hardly in it, like, which is too bad. But I guess she'll take a much more significant role in the years to come. So really, or in the film to come, I guess I really don't have anything to say specifically about her performance, just because there's not much to her character that we know about right now. But yeah, this whole kind of response from the native tribe of Arrakis, kind of an interesting way to go about this whole political dynamic that's going on in the Dune universe. I think it's kind of cool that they're tribalized and they have their own individual little caliphates of resistance and everything. It's really a nice way to do stuff. So I liked that, and I liked the final scene. Although it's very awkwardly paced, I did like the manner in which the film wrapped itself up. But yeah, the last half of the movie is really badly paced.
Real.
Probably my biggest criticism.
Interesting.
But yeah, the scenes themselves are well done. The fight between Paul and other hot-headed guy, pretty cool. Do you yield?
Yeah, that actually was an interesting fight. Paul's never. Lady Jessica says it, but Paul's never killed anyone. Never really fought anyone.
Right.
He's just a dainty prince, but wait, no, maybe he's not. Maybe he's more than that. And
That was
it's like,
interesting.
wow.
I guess one final question before we hit star ratings. What are your anticipations for this next one that comes out, I guess, in 2 years?
I'm very excited to see where they take it. I think that if done right, it will far surpass the quality that this film is, just because it's much more of a, it's all been set up. So now we can kind of have fun with it. With the dynamic between, now Paul, he's got a new life, the dynamic between that life and his old life, and the future pregnancy that hasn't, that is not very present in this movie. I just think that's really funny, especially how Lynch did it in the other one. I'm very excited to see how Denis does it, and I hope we get a third. I'm hopeful that we'll get a Dune Messiah, just because the way that the books go, it's very crazy. It gets weird, and I want to see it get weird.
Yeah, for sure. Sam?
Yeah, I'm just excited for whatever Villeneuve has in mind. I think we all agree that regardless of how we felt about this film, that the next film will be a lot more interesting and important and exciting, perhaps. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where it goes. It's not something I'm particularly anticipating, but it's something to look forward to, I suppose.
It's definitely on my radar.
Yeah, for me, I don't think this works as an individual piece, but I think once this next one comes out, maybe I'm just fooling myself again, and I won't like the second one either. But I really do think knowing where this story goes, I really do think I will like this second one, and I think it will make me appreciate this one more. And maybe even as a double feature, I will even like this. I just think as a standalone movie, it doesn't work. Like, we mentioned Luke Skywalker and Star Wars a bit. I think that obviously A New Hope stands alone perfectly. I don't think this stands alone at all. Actually, I don't think it works by itself. So that makes me excited for the second one, at least as much as I can be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm not out on this.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. That's pretty good. Yeah, cool. Do we get into our final star ratings then?
Yeah, let's do it. Jude, you're the guest. Why don't you go first?
Okay. Star rating for Dune. I gave it the same rating that I gave the David Lynch 1984 Dune, which is an 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5 stars. Good flick.
Good, man.
Okay.
Glad. Sam?
Yeah, I'll give it high 3 stars out of 5. I think it's an impressive piece of filmmaking. It's worth going to see, but it's not great. It's certainly not great. Just awkwardly paced, and well, like we've been saying, we'll be able to see a completed work of art once the sequel comes out, and then we could probably better assess it from there. So 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go one lower than you, even 2 out of 5. Just super did not enjoy this. I think I even said in my review, I said, like, I could say why this is bad, but I really just did not enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's all I'll say. But good. Jude, if you'd like to stay for recommendations, if you have one.
Of course, I do actually have a recommendation. I was thinking about it.
Good. Well, you start us off then.
My recommendation, it's a collection of things. And I'm going to recommend to the viewers of the Those Film Nerds podcast the films of the one director, Elaine May. She made 4 pictures in her time from 1971 to 1987. And I would like to recommend all of them. The films are 1971's A New Leaf with Walter Matthau and Elaine May starring. Can be streamed on Paramount Plus or bought or rent. 1972's The Heartbreak Kid with Charles Grodin and Sybil Shepherd. Can't be streamed anywhere due to it being owned by a random pharmaceutical company, but you can watch it for free on YouTube. Great film. 1976's Mikey and Nikki, her best film in my opinion, starring John Cassavetes and Peter Falk, streaming on Criterion Channel and HBO Max. Definitely check that one out. And then 1987's Ishtar with Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty. It definitely has a reputation of being like garbage due to the poor production and poor reception in box office, but I think it's really funny and definitely recommends. Those are my recommendations. I just love Elaine May, and I want to share the love.
I've added them all to my watch list.
Yes, please. It's such a high recommend.
Good.
I could talk about those films for hours.
Good. That's great. Sam, you have one.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm gonna recommend a classic film. I'm mostly reminded of it because last week I watched the sequel, creatively titled Aliens, which was extremely underwhelming. Probably because I'm kind of biased towards 80s sci-fi action movies with terrible dialogue, but as anyone should be. But Alien, the original, by Ridley Scott, is a wonderful, wonderful movie. Excellent Halloween time.
I was gonna say great scary time.
Excellent spooky pick.
Yeah.
Excellent spooky pick. Really doesn't get enough credit for being able to conflate like science fiction with psychological terror, psychological horror. Really
genuinely scary. Yeah.
Genuinely scary movie. And that was one of my biggest qualms with Aliens is it's not scary at all. It's just a typical action movie. So that's what I got for you.
Good. Alien's a great recommend. I'm gonna keep mine short and simple. I watched a political drama last night, which I tend to like, and I hated it. So I was thinking about some of my other political drama endeavors, and I thought of All the President's Men, with Dustin Hoffman. Again, second Dustin Hoffman reference. Dustin
That was
Hoffman
one of the best zooms in film history.
Yeah,
one of the best zooms of all time.
Yeah, so All the President's Men, love that movie, super great. Check it out. And with that being said, we're pretty much done. Jude, thanks for coming on 1,000 times. Where can our audience find you on Letterboxd if they were looking?
You can find me on letterboxd.com at radioman70. Thank you again for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. Sam, where can I find you?
If you're looking, you can find me on letterboxd.com/sjdierberger. Where can I find you, Will Spalding?
Same place at Will Spalding on Letterboxd. And then you can find us at anchor.fm/thosefilmnerds and all podcast platforms at Those Film Nerds and all things. And with that being said, until next week, Sam, when we're talking Last Night in Soho.
Keep watching movies, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you.